Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door. And it's a Monday morning record for our dearly departed review for round number 10. 2 games featuring the dearly departed yesterday on the Sunday. Means we're having to do this today. A dearly departed derby and 4 defeats for us and 1 victory this week. It's tough going, and our 5 teams are finding themselves, let's just say in the bottom echelons of the table at the moment. Hopefully we can get some turns at some of them. Of course, our 5 teams are those that I've covered in the Championship. Here before on the channel, you can see on the screen there, Leeds, Villa, Norwich, Watford and Brentford. All, struggling a little bit this week, apart from Leeds, who got that win in the dearly departed derby against Norwich. We're going to get into all the action, all the teams, all the goals, all the games. First of all, just say a big thank you to Simon, who is our fan sponsor. Maybe a slightly concerned Brentford fan, but we'll get into that. 25 years as a Brentford fan, says Simon. Finally, the bus stop in Hounslow in the Premier League. Thanks, Dad, for taking me in '96 when football was not such a priority as it is now. Thank you, Simon, for your support. Thank you, everybody, for your support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Everything will always be free here on YouTube and down the podcast feeds. But if you do want to help out like Simon has, you can do over there. Right, without further ado, let's get into the games. So first up is Brentford, and as I already mentioned, a 3rd defeat on the trot for the Bees after that brilliant start. Just a little bit of a slowdown now, and we'll say it each and every week this run goes on. Hopefully it doesn't go on too long and they can turn it back around. But it was Burnley 3, Brentford 1, and we've made lots of references to how Brentford used to be perceived in the Championship as a really good team to watch, but when they came up against more fearsome, more rudimentary opposition, they would struggle. Well, I don't know whether we might be able to actually say that this time against Burnley, who got their first win of the season. When we take a look at the goals, maybe old habits dying hard a little bit, and the far more durable looking Brentford, not looking too resilient to the quick counters and the early direct attacking of Burnley in this one, and looked like the Clarets were comfortable winners in the end, 3-1. There are your teams. Burnley, they love a 4-4-2, don't they? Pope in goal, Lowton, Tarkowski, Mee, Taylor, McNeil, Brownhill, Westwood, Goodmanson, Cornet and Wood up front. For Brentford, couple of, significant changes. David Raya is not going to be around for a while now, so Alvaro Fernandez has got to get in there and, replace Raya's decent goalkeeping performances and distribution, etc. in the Brentford attacking strategy. Pretty quick, smart across the back. Zanka, Janssen and Pinnock. Still no Ayer at the back. Henry and Canos, the wing backs. Onyeka, Norgard, Jensen. That's all full strength. Tony, no Mbuemo. Marcus Force starts up top for the Bees. I suspect that's his first start of the season. Don't quote me on that. I feel like Tony and Mbuemo have started every game, and Mbuemo dropping down to the bench in this one. And this was all done before half-time. Burnley are going to go 3 up in 36 minutes, no less. Here's the opener, and we talk about direct and moving the ball quickly. This one's just knocked down the ground. I think Pinnock gets sucked underneath it. And it runs for Chris Wood, but it's the way that they get turned around, Brentford, that is worrying. I suspect Burnley had planned to be catching Brentford up the pitch in this game, and they do indeed here. it's a good finish from Wood. Perhaps I would question Fernandez's position there, because once he gets a little bit of lift on that shot, it's past him. I think we're in two things can be true territory here. It is a good finish, but and it's a good finish in relation to where the keeper is. Maybe it makes his mind up for him, but perhaps he needs to trust Janssen to come across a little bit more, make it difficult, and he could have given himself a bit more chance just by hanging back a little bit. But again, in deference, the ball moved very quickly forward from the right back position on that transition. And yeah, they all got suckered in on the quick counter. 1-0 Burnley, 4 minutes. There was one disallowed for Cornet as well. But here comes the second. Although, sorry, I've got a chance at 1-0, Ivan Toney. I don't know who the commentator was, but I think he was a little bit high in his expectations. Said Toney should score and sweep this in the corner. I'm not entirely sure that's reasonable, but obviously, great striker like Toney. It is a chance. You almost would have favoured a miss kick or one through the legs of the defender, but he does sweep it around to Pope's left and he gets down well and makes the save. I don't necessarily agree it's should have scored territory, but hey, it's Toney, and most things over the last 2 years or so that have come his way have ended up in the net, haven't they? Right, here's that disappointing goal, and the ball's floated across from the left by Taylor, and without hearing a recording of who's talking to who or not talking to, I just don't know what happens, particularly between Rico Henry and Ethan Pinnock. I mean, there's an argument, look at the number 2 on Loughton's back, that the left wing back is going to be covering the fullback coming forward. I get that, but you mark the danger, you address the danger. There's one player in that 6-yard box, and 3 Brentford defensive players and the keeper, and they're kind of all expecting the other to deal with it. And Loughton's kind of like, oh, nice, okay, up I go and I'll head this in, and that he does. 2-0, and then absolute killer here, 3-0. I mean, to be fair, this is really good by Cornet. I mean, it's a good move as well. McNeil slides it round to him. He cuts in off the left, bends it round again. I don't want to pile in on Fernandez, the keeper, but positioning there with 2 players charging, does he need to be that far off the goal line? And Cornet's able to curl it into the corner. Maybe the Brentford analytics guys with the goalkeepers might be just having a look at maybe some overexcited starting positions from Fernandez there, but they're chasing the game, aren't they? They've gone down 2, and Burnley have been very good at this over the years. Just counter, pick them off, 3-0 at half-time. Ouch, that one's all done. How does the old adage go? Win the second half, boys. And they do. What a brilliant goal this is, by the way, by Saman Ghoddos. You can see Norgard has headed that one across, and I don't even know how to describe that volley. Kind of has to flip his feet around, sort of lateral scissor volley, let's call it. It's a brilliant goal. Too little, too late. Ghoddos had come on indeed for Frank Onyeka early in the half. 79 minutes the goal, and it's going to end 3-1. There are the numbers. They look very, very good for Burnley. You can see 5 big chances to 0. And look at all the big claret blobs there. Looks like my work surface here with lots of wine spillage on it, doesn't it? But they just created loads of chances, didn't they? Balls into the box and quick direct breaks. And if you were going to write the script in that way, you would have maybe had a Burnley side that's good on transition, good getting the ball in the box, against a Brentford side that historically, not so much in recent times, are good going forward. But if you played that game well, you could catch them out. And that was the case today. Maybe a worrying old habit die hard, or I don't know whether I'm reading too much into it. And my old perception of Brentford, maybe under Dean Smith a couple of years ago, with Romain Sawyers in there and Ben Rama and Mepham and, people who have come and gone. They're all good players, by the way. But you take my point, don't you? It's pretty comfortable, isn't it? There's 6 shots to 5 on target, but it's the chance quality that is the killer. There, let me know your thoughts. We'll look at the table at the end of the show, but it is 3 defeats on the trot for Brentford. They've slid down into the bottom half. They are still dining on those 3 wins and 3 draws they'd already picked up. They're over the point per game, which will take them to 38, which is probably going to be enough to survive. Who knows whether we get a high tide or a low tide at the bottom. But a worrying run that has to stop. And I believe next up, Brentford versus Norwich, dearly departed derby. I guess they'll have that one circled. Norwich will have that one circled, and we'll see what transpires. Get your thoughts in the comments. Burnley 3, Brentford 1. On we go. Aston Villa 1, West Ham 4. And if we thought 3 defeats on the trot for Brentford was bad, it is 4 defeats on the trot for Villa. Not entirely sure what's going on there. And Dean Smith still trying to find his post-Grealish. We always mention him, his post-Grealish formula. And he's now heading into November, probably not having found it yet. Although, I don't know, 5-6 games ago, we thought he had found it with the 3 at the back. Obviously, nothing has quite settled yet. And West Ham, and I say this in the most complimentary fashion, I hate it when West Ham play our dearly departed teams. They have just beaten them up over the last sort of couple of seasons. And another just example of how West Ham can lull you in and knock you down with great ease. They're a very, very good side, aren't they, the Hammers? There's your Villa team. And you'll notice a big call or two in that. Martinez in goal, Cash, Konza, Hawes and Target. No Mings taken out of the firing line there. Maybe some form issues. No Tuan Zabi. Back 2, back 4 here. Ramsey, Nakamba and McGinn in central midfield to facilitate a front 3 of Watkins centrally with Buendia in his preferred position down the right. Bailey gets the start from the left. Villa fans have been telling me Ings and Watkins doesn't necessarily work up top. No Ings on the bench for this one. And yeah, it didn't work again today, did it? It's a 4-1, or yesterday rather, a 4-1 defeat. There's your West Ham team. Fabianski, Johnson, Zuma, Ogbonna, Cresswell, Souček, Rice, Bowen, Fornals, Ben Rama, and Antonio. And it feels like we've repeated this this kind of narrative over and again when our teams have played West Ham. You get some good finishing, they lull you in, and then they just destroy you on the break. There is a red card into the bargain for this, but it's literally exactly what happens in this game. If you are a Villa fan, you would be not stretching the truth by saying that the opening 2 goals for, West Ham on another day, they don't score them. They're both really good finishes. Johnson coming in off the right-hand side and just sticking that through the crowd in the corner with the left foot. I mean, say what you like, take your chances, good finishing, whatever. But West Ham lead 1-0 there on 7 minutes. Some encouraging signs here. Watkins gets the equaliser on 34. And it is a Buendia assist. Not a typical Buendia assist, actually, I have to say. The typical Buendia where we saw him tear up the Championship a couple of times was, on transition, moving in off the right, half space, feeding the ball through. Actually, a bit of an old school winger one here, round the back, John Barnes, and cuts it back. Watkins puts it in, but a goal contribution there, an assist for Buendia, cannot be a bad thing, I guess, despite, maybe a bit of a flounce I'm hearing later on in the game from the Argentine. And again, I mean, look at that. I don't know what the XG for that goal is, but it's not a lot. Rice, he's miles out, isn't he? I reckon 27 yards looking at the hatching on the pitch there. And he drills it again in the bottom. And yes, West Ham are good, but you would say if you're a Villa fan, how are these flying in from outside the box? Confidence, quality, again, you name it. 2-1 to West Ham just before, 38, just coming into half time. And the picking off then comes. West Ham will stay in the game and will pick you off. This obviously helps. And this is the red card. It's Konza on Jarrod Bowen. Look, it's a difficult one to call this. The referee initially, who was it? It was a referee Kavanagh, I think. Referee Kavanagh initially pulls out the yellow card, but they go to the screen or the VAR for a clear and obvious error. And we're in, we're in subjective terms here. Whatever your conclusion is, fine, whatever, because it is subjective. There's no, it's definitely a red card. There's no, it's definitely not. Somewhere lies the truth, and, we are debating something subjective, so do please be cognizant that other people are allowed to reach a different opinion. The still doesn't necessarily tell us everything, and I did a little bit agree with Jamie Redknapp, to be honest. We're into, first things first, is it a foul or not? You decide. That it's clumsy at best, so let's assume it is a foul. Then the next thing we need to know is it an obvious goal scoring opportunity? The deliberate doesn't come into it because it's outside the box. If he's fouled him and it is a denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity, then it is a red card. The issue that Jamie Redknapp pulled up on Sky is it an obvious goal scoring opportunity? And the ball moves sort of into that right channel on the angle. It's moving fairly quickly. And then, we're into semantics, aren't we? Is Jarrod Bowen on an angle first time obviously going to have an opportunity? He's going to have an opportunity to shoot. Is he going to take a touch and square it? No, there's nobody to square it to, frankly. Antonio's behind him. So it's very debatable, isn't it? I mean, I think if the ball was moving a little less quicker, I'd be a bit more inclined to say, yeah, he can get a decent shot off there. But he's going, I don't know. It's a difficult one to call. Let's just be open to all opinions here. I'm probably 60-40 against that being a red card. But if the VAR's pulled it up and another professional referee has looked at it, then I guess whatever criteria they have for obvious goal scoring opportunity that has been met by a couple of separate professional referees. So, hey, what do I know? Red card, move on. And yeah, West Ham then on the counter. They're so good at this, aren't they? Just sit in, lull you, move the ball quickly, Bowen in behind, shot parried by Martinez. Fornals puts it in for number 3. And exactly the same again. This time, who's going through there? Manuel Lanzini, and he squares it for Jarrod Bowen. And in my championship coverage, Jarrod Bowen was just lethal for Hull, running in behind, that speed and directness. And that trick works whatever league you're playing in, apparently. And Bowen on the break just destroys Villa at the end there, 4-1. Look, we always have to take into account game state, don't we, when we're looking at the numbers. And it is 2-1 when it goes to a red card. And both of West Ham's goals are really good and probably low percentage chances. You can see the two golden, you try and pick them out there, the first 2 goals there. Obviously, the last 2 goals are huge chances. So maybe the numbers and the big chances and everything gets padded. It is 2-1 at the time of the red card. So I don't know if I'm being a Villa apologist here. And saying, can you bring game state into it? I don't know, but, it is what it is. It's 4-1 at the end. And look, I suppose if you think the red card's a mistake decision, you you can live with this result. But it's a fourth straight defeat, isn't it? You know, getting real about Villa here. And it's very, very tweaky. Ings isn't there. I presume he's injured. Someone will correct me in the chat. Mings has been moved out. It was always Douglas Luiz and McGinn. He's not around. Bailey's now back in. Where do you use Buendia? It all feels like there's lots and lots of questions for Dean Smith to answer. And he's a good manager. He will answer them, but he's not quite getting there yet. And Villa, it just feels like they're underperforming slightly. And until they find the right formula, that will continue, won't it? Let me know what you think if you're a Villa fan. It seems to me to be all about personnel and strategy now, and then we can look at performances. And again, how many times have we sat here and said West Ham are very good, and if our dearly departed teams have an off day, they repeatedly beat them. So tip of the cap to West Ham, who are just an excellent side, aren't they? Let me know your thoughts on that one then. Villa 1, West Ham 4. Okay, back we go for game number 3 for Claudio Ranieri at Watford. We've had a 5-0 defeat against Liverpool. We've had a 5-2 win at Everton. Here comes a home defeat against Southampton. When I spoke to the Watford fans, this was actually probably more the game they were looking at for 3 points. Obviously, that Everton 3 points are going to mitigate. You can now argue they've got a point per game under Ranieri, which is probably going to be enough long term. But a home defeat here against the Saints. And I suppose, not want to denigrate what Southampton's expectations are, could be a direct rival if Watford can stay above that line for a long time. There are the teams. Watford, Foster in goal, Ngakia, Ekong, Cathcart, Messina. Hernandez and Sarr wide. Kutska and Sissoko. João Pedro off, the hat-trick guy from Everton, Josh King. And Alex McCarthy in goal for Southampton. Livramento, Bednarek, Salisu and Walker-Peters. Redmond, Elianusi wide. Ward-Prowse, Romeo. Adams and Armstrong up top for the Saints in this one. And it looked to me, and I've got the graphs and the numbers up, like maybe Southampton took control of this game in the first half, and they certainly take the lead. That should probably be going in the back of the net from Adam Armstrong there, rising on the back post. Is it Messina there jumping? A bit blurry. Maybe it's just done enough to put him off. He heads it over the bar. But this is the goal. I say the opening goal, the only goal of the game on 20 minutes. It's a really good goal, actually. Adams gets it out of his feet and just bends that one in the top corner. I know Foster gets a fair bit of heat from the Watford fans, but don't know what he could really do about that one. It's a really nice finish by Che Adams. Interesting, his trademark finish is normally the early low drill into the corner, but he's bent that one into the top corner for the Saints. 1-0. This is a ridiculous goal line clearance by Kyle Walker-Peters. It's a very good shot, actually, from Ismail Assar when you consider the angle. And I'm not entirely sure how he's even done it, Walker-Peters, because he's covering from right back. He's going with his right foot. You know, you'd want to sweep it out with your left foot. And it almost like he just gets his body there and it kind of hits his thigh and bounces away. He gets a bit of luck, but I suppose his athleticism helps him get in the right position. And the eye test from me, I thought, oh, that's in. But obviously they've got the Hawkeye and the goal line tech. Said no. I'd like to see the still of that. Must have been an inch or two from being over the line, and a first half equaliser possibly from Ismail Assar. Double sub at half time for Watford. Sema and cleverly in for João Pedro and Hernandez. Look like sort of straight swaps, I guess, although cleverly is not going to play as a number 10. More a midfield group of three there with Sema, maybe again offering a little bit more defensive cover. I know he played a bit wing-backy, but he did play up top in the 3, didn't he, at the end of last season under Xisco. So maybe I'll correct myself on that one. Second half, and there is the big chance to get the equaliser. That's Ashley Fletcher, who comes in on 82. He doesn't do a lot wrong, I have to say. I know you look at it and it looks like has to score. He turns quickly, good contact with the left foot. Okay, it's not right in the corner. Can he give the keeper the eyes and stick it in the other corner? Yeah, fine, easy for me to say after the event. I'll reiterate, doesn't do a lot wrong. It's a good save by McCarthy, quickly down to his right. I know I'll get Watford fans in the comments say, Ben, he should be putting that in the corner and equalising, and that would have got Watford a point. But it didn't. And there are the numbers. Look at that. Only one shot on target for Southampton. You can see a couple of big red blobs in there on the XG in terms of big chances missed. But still, Watford fans will be disappointed with that, losing to a single shot on target. You'd want to work the Saints harder than that. In terms of that clean sheet, only one big chance created for Watford, which I guess is the Fletcher chance at the end. And they've gone from hammering in 5 to, being a bit anemic in front of goal in this one. A second shutout in a home game, a second home defeat in 2 for Ranieri. That's fine margins, that game, and fine margins in what we suspect will be a relegation battle or a likely bottom 6 battle for Watford. I don't know. Are those games you need to at least not lose? We said this last season on Dearly Departed when Fulham and West Brom, not Sheffield United so much because they got themselves so far back, but Fulham and West Brom were trying to catch up with the likes of Brighton and Burnley and Newcastle. And all of those managers, Dyson, Potter and Bruce, they just never lost these games. They didn't win all of them, but they never lost them. And perhaps, Watford fans will look at this and think, well, even if it is fine margins, you've got to draw the game at least. So, yeah, bit of a disappointing one. But big picture again, Liverpool, Everton and Southampton, they've got 3 points from the 3 games. So, big picture under Ranieri is okay, and if they continue to win 1 in every 3 games, they'll stay up. The point per game, given Xisco had got a couple of wins early on in the season before he went, would likely be enough. So big picture, it's okay, but fine margins, they need to do better, you think, in a game where they've only conceded 1 shot on target and gone on to lose it. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments on that one. Watford 0, Saints 1. And it was a big dearly departed derby between Norwich City and Leeds down at Carrow Road on Sunday. And it ended Norwich 1, Leeds 2. 2 very different narratives in this one. I think we need to go back to that film producer, the guy who produced The Godfather. I can't remember his name. There are 3 versions of this story, yours, mine and the truth, and nobody is lying. And Norwich fans and Leeds fans and neutrals will all see this one very different. I think both sets of fans would have had this one circled as can we get a win. Leeds not quite themselves yet this season. Norwich struggling at the bottom, just looking for that first win. And it is Leeds and Rafinha who get the victory here. There's a growing narrative around Daniel Farke, the Norwich manager. I know we've mentioned it the last couple of shows. We'll talk about it after we've gone through the action. And Farke, look, I don't think SofaScore's got that team shape right, by the way. I think it is more a back 3. But we are starting to see, and I always say on the channel, wait for the goalie to get dropped, and then you know the managers go in games after. We're starting to see a lot of throwing the proverbial SHIT at the wall and hoping something sticks now for Norwich, who'd built a brilliant system around Aaron's Buendia and Pookie in a 4-2-3-1 over the last few years. And now Buendia's gone and the system's changed. And, Yeah, he's nowhere near looking like finding a new one, is he? Krul in goal. So it's a back three. Shuffle them all over a little bit. Omar Bamadeli, Hanley and Kabak. Aaron's wing-back. Rasica, a wing-back the other side. Be interested to see what Norwich fans think of that with Williams and Janulis in the squad. McLean and Norman as a double pivot. And then sort of Dowell supporting Pookie one side and Sargent supporting Pookie the other side. So it's a sort of 3-4-3, and Norwich have now gone from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3 to a 3-5-2 to a 3-4-3. And it's fairly obvious that Farke doesn't quite know how to strategise. And we're now seeing, Rasica's in and Dowell's in for this one. We now see Omar Bamadeli into the back three. So we're now seeing different players coming in. And that's the polar opposite of what Norwich fans have seen from Daniel Farke. Very much stuck with a team game after game after game. And he's reaching now, isn't he, the German for Norwich. For Leeds, Meslier in goal. Llorente, Cooper and Strawick at the back. Still no Ailing there. No Koch either. Although he may have been on the bench. I can get that up off the screen. Calvin Phillips, a starter, and now, hopefully for Leeds' sake, coming back into the reckoning and, having the influence that he really hasn't yet this season and has traditionally over the last couple for Bielsa. Shackleton and Dallas flanking him. So Click not starting. By the way, Adam Forshaw comes off the bench. It feels like about 3 years since we've seen Adam Forshaw, and I don't even think I'm exaggerating there. Rafinha, Rodrigo and James off Jack Harrison up the top. So very much no striker in that 11 and missing Pat Bamford. Robin Koch not on the bench, says my laptop over here. And the first half had a little bit of the thought, how can I word this, of two teams really kind of that didn't have a lot of confidence, I thought. I thought maybe, I'll have a look at the numbers. I thought maybe I had it on in the background. Norwich edged it in terms of sort of territory and whatnot. I've just had a look though. They had 7 shots and didn't have a shot on target. And it felt like that lack of confidence and lack of belief was, okay, we're doing well, but we can't quite take the lead at the moment. Just not in that mode. This is unlucky from Pookie. After 3, everybody. If this was in the Championship, it flies in the corner. Maybe so. Hits it first time and drills it just wide of the post. But you'll see the type of chances Norwich are creating. From the edge of the box. There's another one there from Matthias Norman. Look at that gap to Shackleton's right. Well, between Shackleton and Strawick there, 46 and 21. He finds it, Norman. He just puts it wide of the post. But again, I'm talking about shots from the edge of the box where the opposition have got men back and Norwich not their old selves and cutting through and creating clear chances with Mr. Buendia. Sorry to mention him normally at the centre of all of those. Into the second half, and Leeds are going to take the lead here on 56 minutes. And in a game, I guess, where you've got two teams maybe not quite at it, a big picture, you need the quality players to stand up, and that's exactly what Rafinha does. Again, two things can be true here. You can see Omid Bamadeli with his hands held out, and maybe he's got beaten a bit easier. And then is Kabak in Krul's way, and it's going to go through Kabak's legs, deflect a little bit past Hanley, and Max Aaron's behind them is going to throw his arms up and say, how on earth has that gone in? That's your view if you're a Norwich fan. And if you're a Leeds fan or a neutral, you're probably saying, yeah, look, quality from Rafinha, just coming in off the right, dribble, does his man, and just a little pause, and then a move in onto his left foot. we're in two things can be true category, aren't we? Yes, Raphinha is very good and has shown very, very good technical quality. But should one of those, how many yellow shirts are there back there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shirts in the box have been able to stop him? I don't know, you tell me. Two things can be true. Not great defending, but excellent from Raphinha for sure. Omid Bamidele makes amends here if he was ran past a little bit too easily from the corner there. And it's almost like Llorente and Dallas getting each other's way there. Omid Bamidele certainly physically should be able to beat Dallas. And then Llorente's coming in and they all converge. And it's a very, very good header in off the crossbar. Meslier is not saving that one for sure. 1-1. And I hate to say it, but all of these predictors of teams that get relegated, we've talked about low confidence, we talked about shots and things deflected in and just being a little bit too far back and slightly too defensive and not defending on the front foot. Another one of those predictors is immediately conceding after you've scored. That fragility that we've seen, and it's literally 2 minutes later again. Norwich concede. I mean, you tell me. I don't want to have a big, huge debate here about offside and interfering with play. Rodrigo takes the shot. Look at Raphinha there. Is he in the line of sight of the goalkeeper? It looks like Krul is looking around him. I haven't seen the shot from side on. It doesn't look like Aarons is playing him onside there, number 2. So, look, we can debate that until the cows come home. What we do know is Krul should save the shot. He almost like dives over it, and I hate to say it in terms of relegation seasons, but another predictor is individual mistakes and your keeper starts struggling because of what's going on in front of him, and it's just all there for Norwich at the moment when you add it all up. Look, I will buy the argument if Norwich fans make it that Raphinha could have been flagged or caught on the VAR. It's not definitive, is it? It's another subjective one. So, I'm sure Norwich fans will say he's interfering and Leeds fans will say he won't. And we'll move on and say that the VAR checked it and thought it was fine. And I will add, it's not the greatest shot in the world from Rodrigo, and Krul should still save it wherever Raphinha's standing, frankly, and that's how it ends. 2-1, and yeah, I mean, look at the numbers. There's just not much in the game at all, and unfortunately, if you're Norwich at the moment, that's enough for you to lose the game. Only 0.81 conceded on the XG, and it's a bit of quality for the first goal from Raphinha and a shot from miles out through the keeper's hands with maybe someone in the line of sight in an offside position of the goalkeeper for the second one. I should mention Dan James went in behind in the first half, didn't he? And Hanley made a really good clearance off the line in terms of Leeds' chances. But there just was that feeling that particularly when Raphinha got on the ball as well, that Leeds were going to be able to get goals in this game. For Norwich, there's an accumulation of chances, but no big chances in the game. And 14 shots to 13 to Norwich, 5 corners to 0, but not creating any big chances. It's textbook team with no confidence, team not playing well, not being able to put together a performance, and then those moments in games all add up to go against you, and that's where sadly Norwich are at the moment. We'll look at the table in a bit, but excellent for Leeds. Maybe they can build on that now. I think they got 7 points in 4. We'll analyse the table properly. So Leeds will hope get Bamford back. I don't know how far he is away. Phillips now starting to play well. Get Ailing back and start to build up the rhythm, because I know they've won this game, and there's moments where they move the ball quickly and they look like Leeds, but they don't really look like Leeds, do they? There's a whole other level that we know they can play at that they're not quite reaching yet. But hey, if they've got a couple of wins in the last 4 and they're not there yet, then if your glass is half full, then up they go and reach the level. I suppose we need to talk about Farke, who I like very much. I've always said that the football that I've seen him play at championship level. And yes, I know he had Buendia and he had Mattheson as well before then. But the football that I saw him coach was so good, really a new level for the championship. And I know other managers have produced really good football down there. But yeah, it feels a little bit murky now, doesn't it? 7-0 last week, formations changing, individual mistakes, conceding a goal straight after you're scoring a goal, goalkeeper mistakes. They're all just big red flags. And I suppose it's that the Norwich fans will have that loyalty versus reality and what's going on in the future. The loyalty will obviously be that he's got them 2 promotions, and frankly, the first promotion, really, things would be very, very different for Norwich as a club had they not got up that season or within the next season. I think financially they would be in a very different position than they are now. So they owe him a lot, but that's, of course, not to say that he's automatically now the right man because of something he did in 2018-19 that was brilliant. He's got to be brilliant now, and he's not being brilliant now. And Norwich don't have a win, and he's reaching for a solution, and the sporting director's coming out on the front foot aggressively, and they're still not winning. And, it's how many more games is it going to go before it's too many games. So, yeah. On the one hand, I admire the guy, but he's just not doing it at the moment, and he needs some points very, very quickly, doesn't he, is all I will say. Get your thoughts in the comments on Daniel Farker and Norwich's continuing struggles and whether Leeds can now bounce off this and go on a run. Norwich 1, Leeds 2. Okay, that'll do us for today. Let's have a look at the table. And yeah, I was quite enjoying a couple of sides being in the top half, and we had Leeds and Villa around 10th position most of the last season. At the moment, Brentford now down to 12th with a run of 3 straight defeats. Villa down to 15th with a run of 4 straight defeats. Watford, I'll say again, 3 points in 3 games under Ranieri. That's okay. Let's keep an eye on that. But defeats. Only Norwich have lost more games than Watford. Leeds 7 points in 4 is a trend upwards, but we just need to see the old Leeds, the eye test. They need to get Bamford back and Ailing back as well, don't they? And yeah, Norwich down the bottom, just hopeless at the moment, isn't it? 25 conceded in 10, no wins. And yeah, we'll look at the next fixtures, and I suppose all eyes on sporting director and manager there over at Norwich. But yeah, 12, 15, 16, 17 and 20 for the dearly departed. To be honest, I'd take that because that would be only one of them getting relegated. I'd take that right now, but I appreciate, particularly Leeds and Villa fans would expect higher up, and Norwich fans would certainly expect or hope to see a win in the W column there at some point, wouldn't they? Next time out, Southampton host Villa. Circled on the calendar for Villa. We hope. Can they turn around the 4-game losing streak? Brentford versus Norwich. That is a big, big game, isn't it? Can Norwich get a point from that? Can Brentford bounce back off 3 straight defeats? I'm going to say it again. They're both going to have it circled on the calendar, aren't they? Arsenal versus Watford. Arsenal are quite good at the moment. I'm a bit worried for Watford in that one, I have to say. Leeds versus Leicester. Leicester not quite there, and they're playing European football every midweek as well. They lost to Arsenal at the weekend. I don't know. Can Leeds go and grab something there? Maybe I'm a little bit more hopeful there. Maybe they can take a point. Who knows? We'll get into that next week, of course, on the next episode of Dearly Departed. That was our round 10 review. Please, of course, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We'll be here every round reviewing our dearly departed teams that we covered in the Championship that are now up in the big league, in the Premier League. Thank you again to Simon, who is our fan sponsor for this one, 25 years as a Bees fan. Finally, the bus stop in Hounslow in the Premier League. Thanks, Dad, for taking me in 96 when football was not such a priority. Thank you so much, Simon. Thank you to everybody on Patreon who does support. Again, this will always be free here on YouTube. You might get the odd advert be put in by the monetization button that I press. However, we do appreciate all of the Patreons subscribing, and you too can get involved over there, www.patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and it's a big, lovely, juicy over and out from me.